welcome to the 27th edition of the Local Lowdown podcast. My name is Zach Bischoff, and I am, as always, joined by.
Danny Shanholzer.
All right, thank you very much, Danny, on this New Year's Eve edition of the Local Lowdown podcast. How are you on this New Year's Eve?
I'm doing great, Zach. Happy New Year, buddy.
Thank you, and right back at you. All right, Danny, your favorite memory from this podcast for the year 2023?
Oh man, that is a heck of a way to start off there, man.
Yes.
I mean, dude, I have really enjoyed, all the I've really enjoyed doing all the Steelers talk. I think that I feel like we've done like last season we did a little bit of Steelers talk, but I feel like this season we've really kind of ramped that up, and I feel like we're going on the journey of the season with Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and I've really enjoyed that because we're like we've been almost every week we've been kind of along for the ride and able to kind of sympathize and empathize and rejoice with fellow Steelers fan. But dude, I mean everything we talk about, I've really enjoyed, honestly, man. So, dude, but that's something that specific that comes to mind. So I'm just grateful for what we've done and looking forward to what we will continue to do.
Yeah, as far as my favorite memory, I think is with us going through all the adversity that we did, well, I wouldn't call it adversity, but switching from the All Things Sports podcast to the Local Lowdown podcast earlier this year, and trying to retain viewers, which we've done a good job. I think we're doing a bit better than we did with the All Things Sports. But I think this has gone really well for us. Our numbers are looking pretty decent, so I'm happy about that. And I hope that why do we not have any data in? We'll just deal with that as it comes. All right. Yes, but my favorite moment has definitely just been us having good numbers and people actually listening, chatting. Ken in the chat. I don't think there's somebody out there. I'm not sure if it's him, but him asking us good questions and contributing to the show as always whenever he can tune in. And just lastly, Danny, being able to talk with you on a semi-weekly basis as we talk about as we go through our talk about our passion of sports. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the bowl games, New Year's Six, college football playoff. I think again, last night we had Georgia winning over Florida State in the Peach Bowl. Peach Bowl.
Orange Bowl, I think.
Oh yes, it was the Orange Bowl. I'm sorry, excuse me. The Orange Bowl, 63-3, Georgia defeats Florida State. And Danny, I think that type of a win for Georgia really, I think, is the committee's reason why they left Florida State out. Because they just got completely outplayed by Georgia in all facets.
They did, certainly, Zach. I saw somebody on Twitter say that literal oranges would probably put up a better fight against Georgia than Florida State did. And I mean, say what you will about Florida State had 22 players not playing, opting to take the opt out of the game for NFL draft reasons and for health reasons. Obviously, their star quarterback Jordan Travis had an injury in the ACC championship game. But I mean, Zach, I honestly like 63-3 is pretty. That's a pretty bad, and I think that like Georgia just probably came in just so fired up and so fed up that they weren't one of the top four. Because Zach, you remember? I mean, in the last year's semifinal game when they won 29 straight games and were back-to-back national champions, coming out of the New Year's break, they in their game against TCU, they beat them 65-7. So I don't know what is in the water at Georgia when bowl season comes around, but something's working because whatever 63 plus 67 is, that's how much they've outscored opponents for the in these past 2 games, which was really kind of just pretty impressive to watch, man.
130.
100. So they have a plus 120 point differential in their last 2 games in their last 2 bowl games.
Yeah.
Like when you think about just how hard that is in terms of football, that's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's Georgia. I mean, I think people were saying on Twitter that Georgia got screwed. No, they really didn't. They lost to Alabama.
And, yeah, Zach, and I mean, I completely agree with you. And people are going to say, they won 63-3, which obviously great for Georgia. That's how you want to end the 2023 campaign. But Zach, I mean, whoever wins the SEC should make the college football playoff. And the predicament with 4 teams is good teams are going to get left out. I mean, Florida State finished 13-1. That's a pretty good record. So, I mean, unfortunately, with 4 teams, good teams are going to have to be left out. And Alabama won the SEC championship. So, I mean, and I think that's why 12 teams will be good coming up next year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that'll just kind of limit the complaining a little bit in terms of. I mean, obviously, team 13 and 14 are going to be upset, but it won't be like so.
But it won't be like
It won't have to be so top heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 12 teams, especially given the current climate of college football, I think that 12 teams
Yeah.
is needed in the in this college football climate. But now moving to
Well,
God.
oh, sorry, Zach. You just have more competitive games too, which I think in the era of NIL and NFL,
Mm-hmm.
you just want competitive college football games at the end of the year because teams have worked hard and deserve to be there. You know what I mean? But yeah.
All right, so recapping yesterday's bowl games of note, it is let's see, Ole Miss defeating Penn State 38-25. I have nothing more to say than James Franklin. That's all I got to say.
He
Penn
can't win
State,
big games,
Penn
Zach. He
State
cannot win
just
big games.
cannot win games, win big games. Excuse me.
No, I mean,
They can't.
Zach, it was not. They can't do it, and I think Penn State,
At
if
one
they
point,
want,
it was 31-3.
actually,
I think.
I mean, Zach, yeah, that's indicative of what Penn State's been. Penn State can win 42-0 against Michigan State and roll over Rutgers and beat Purdue and put up a fight for 3 quarters against Ohio State. But Zach, when it matters, Penn State does not finish games. And I know James Franklin is a great recruiter. He brings in great players. And Penn State is always a very exciting team to watch. But they can't finish.
No. Yeah, they really can't. I was rooting for Ole Miss yesterday because us being on the western side of Pennsylvania, then that's kind of we hate Penn State with a passion, and on the eastern side of the
And
state, we're
I'm
Penn
still a
State.
little bit salty about Pitt's 2-win season. I don't know about you, Zach.
Oh, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
That's exactly right. It's the new year. It's gonna be we gotta
New
flip
year,
the
new
calendar,
pick.
huh?
All right, let's see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With really no other notable games yesterday other than Georgia and Penn State. Moving to college football playoff coverage now, we have in the Rose Bowl we have number 4 Alabama going up against number 1 Michigan. That game is at 5 o'clock tomorrow night. And lastly, in the Sugar Bowl, we have number 3 Texas going up against number 2 Washington. Washington being undefeated going into the game at 8:45. Both games on ESPN. Danny, your thoughts on both those games?
Yeah, Zach. No, for sure. Dude, I'm honestly intrigued by both of them, but for different reasons. Because Michigan and Alabama is mano y mano, right? You got JJ McCarthy, you got Jalen Milroe, and I mean it's just gonna be an absolute battle. I think that this is a game that's going to come down to the last drive. But I think when you kind of zoom out and look at who like this is a bigger game for, I think it's honestly a bigger game for Michigan because Michigan's been so close so many times, but haven't won a national championship in recent years. You know, they've been right there on the cusp. They're coming in as number one. You know, they're the big dogs. They've shown that. You know, they're undefeated, despite all the controversy with Jim Harbaugh being suspended and everything like that with the interim head coaches, and all that. Which that is really challenging, especially for we always talk about college football and college basketball. I mean, these guys are 18 to 22 year olds. You know, I'm 16, and change is hard sometimes. So I think Michigan has a chance to really do something special because I think the winner of that game, the winner of the Michigan Alabama game, is going to win the national championship. I think it's going to be Michigan 28 to 25. Um, and as far as the Texas Washington game, I think that one is a little bit more wide open. It's a little bit, two teams that are always right there, who are always really good. But Texas this is their first time in the 14 playoff in a while. But I lean towards Washington, man. I think between Michael Penix and their defense has been really solid all year. They haven't scored a ton, but their defense is always shorted up. So I lean towards Washington. I'm gonna say 35 20. 35-28, we'll say on that one, kind of a shootout. What do you think, Zach?
All right, so first, going back to Michigan, Alabama, I'm going to take Michigan by a score of 30-27. And I'm going to take
All right,
Washington by a score of 28-14. And and, and
28-14.
and if those two would make it to the national championship game, I'm going to say Michigan wins easily. I
Yeah,
sense kind of a because if we look back to last year's playoff, how it was Michigan. Oh, how did it fall last year? It was Michigan and TCU, right? In the
it
Rose.
was Georgia and TCU.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
no,
Georgia.
yeah, no,
Wait,
I'm sorry, yeah,
yeah, Michigan, TCU.
no, Georgia and TCU, yeah.
I don't know. But Michigan or Georgia, whichever one it was, I don't remember. Won
Yeah, it was
easily
Georgia.
over
They
TCU.
had that 29 game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and TCU got outplayed in every facet. I think if Washington makes it to the national championship game, I think that will be the same type of thing will happen with Michigan. Danny, any wait, did you pick national championship? If your scenario would play
No,
out,
I haven't. Yeah, sure. I'll pick
please
it.
do,
I
please
would
do, please do.
say. Thanks, Zach. No, I would say I again I agree with you, Zach, and would say I don't think it'll be. I think Washington's going to put up a fight at least for half, but it'll probably be 35-17 or something like that. But Zach, dude, this is. I think you make a great point with how sometimes when you get to the national championship, like the semifinals, there's such a big build up, and then you only have 1 week to prepare for the national championship on Monday night, which is a weird time for a college football national championship, in my opinion. But I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of teams kind of get fatigued when they're right on the cusp of something. So that's that'll be something to watch for. Zach, I think this is a pretty rare occurrence when you and I, dude. Our both our semifinal picks were the same. We agreed 3 times because we have the same national champion.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah,
that?
we usually don't agree on things like that. One of us usually
No, dude, that's what I was thinking.
likes
I
to
was like,
take
oh
the
my
underdog,
gosh,
but
dude,
yeah,
this is
that's
a
not
new
the
new
case here.
year.
Yeah, new year, new us, right? All right, now moving
Yes, sir.
forward
Exactly.
to the Steelers, which Steelers played the Seahawks in Seattle, Washington, at just under 3 hours from now. So Danny, they play the Seahawks. Danny, your tips to win for the Steelers, and also your predictions.
Yeah, Zach, I think it's the biggest key for the Steelers are going to be starting fast. It's no secret that the Steelers oftentimes start slow, and then we got to play catch up the entire
Mm-hmm.
game. I would love, love, love to see the Steelers start fast, get a good, 6 play, 35-yard drive to start out,
Just like
where
last week.
George Pickens has. Yeah, exactly. George Pickens has, again, a monster guy. I just think we got to keep um, giving George Pickens the ball because he has such a great ability to make big plays. I think the biggest key again for Rudolph is to not overcomplicate it. I think a lot of
Nope.
times when you're in the pocket, you can get sped up. That's what's happened with Pickett and Trubisky both. Pickett does a better job of he'll get speed up in the pocket, but he'll at least not throw the ball to the other team. Mitch has had a little trouble with that, but
Yep.
Rudolph was awesome. But Zach, I think it goes again to just again setting Rudolph up for throws that he can make comfortably, so he can put it in a window for our guys to catch it, and that's obviously easier said than done. I look for Jalen Warren's got to have another great game. I think he will. Najee Harris again providing that power back that I would like. I would love to just see them have success too. In terms of defensively, Zach, I think it just again pressure, pressure, pressure right against Drew Lock and the Seahawks. I think
Oh,
we
Geno
did a
starting?
heck of a job.
Is Geno Smith not starting?
I believe so. I think I don't think Geno Smith is starting. I think it's Drew Lock. And that whole quarterback situation I haven't kept up with it. But that's been a little bit interesting. It's kind of similar to us a little bit. I think they're kind of trying to figure out what works best for them. But I believe Drew Lock is starting. So we just got to get pressure and force them into early mistakes, man.
Yeah. Danny, your score prediction, if you didn't say it already.
Oh, Zach, that's dude, great question. And
That's all good.
the I so here's my thought process: is I know the game's going to be closer than I would like it,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm trying to take that into consideration because it's going to be a battle. It's New Year's Eve football. It's the game. The Seahawks are right in the hunt too. In the NFC, so they're trying to obviously pull out and the year on a high note and hopefully sneak into the playoffs. But I would say Steelers 27, Seahawks 21. It's gonna be close, Zach. It's gonna be close, I think.
I'm going to say Steelers 21, Seahawks 17. I think it's gonna be
Yes, sir.
it's gonna be a close one. Ken, if you're out there,
Yeah.
you
No.
can give your thoughts in the chat, your predictions or what have you. And or we were going to talk about Pitt basketball. Unfortunately, they did lose last night to Syracuse to begin ACC play with a 81-73 defeat. Danny, your thoughts? Because I couldn't find the game anywhere on TV.
Yeah, Zach, dude. Again, people out there got to go hunting for these early season games. It was on the Pittsburgh CW, I think.
It
Yeah,
wasn't. I put it
Zach.
on. It wasn't. It wasn't. It
Oh,
was.
was it really?
It
Oh
says
no,
now.
it was on 20 to the point. It was on 20 to the point. Sorry, yeah, that's where it was.
Basketball there now. Okay.
Yeah, oh, I think they just had football and basketball and
20
stuff.
to the point is a
But
local
but
game
yeah,
for us here locally.
yeah. No, Zach. This was disappointing, and actually, I misinformed our viewers. Pitt's actually that loss takes them to 0-2 in conference play because they lost to Clemson by 8
Oh.
in a game earlier, which that's a weird
Oh, we're both
that
wrong
that
on
was a
points.
weird game.
We're sorry for that.
Yeah,
We
yeah, yeah, yeah.
apologize.
No, we're so no. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't catch that either, Zach. But because I mean, it just that kind of sneaks up on you, because there's such a lull of non-conference, and then they just sneak a conference game in there. But yeah, Zach. I mean, the most disappointing thing for Pitt, in my opinion, was the fact that we had a chance to close it out. I mean, we were up by 8 at halftime. We hit a three, to start the second half. We were up by 11, and then we let it slip away. And I mean, in the second half, I think we only went 6 for 15 on the free throw line. That's 9 missed free throws. That just does not cut it, Zach. And I I told Zach, dude, after the podcast, I said that I really hope Blake Hinson has a great game, because I said he would score 25 points and lead the Panthers to victory, and that did not happen. Blake Hinson played 38 minutes, which obviously that's what you need your best player to do, is play 38 to 40 minutes, but he only had 11 points. Zach, I mean, that just does not get it done for Pitt. We have guys, Zach Austin and Bob Carrington and Jorge Diaz-Graham, or Guillermo. Guillermo played more than Jorge. Yeah, Guillermo Diaz-Graham can all shoot, but it boils down to Blake Hinson needing to make shots to keep Pitt in games. And I think that one thing that was a little bit interesting to me was that Jeff Capel pulled Jorge um, with 4 minutes left in the second half, after he had a big first half, and I think he hit a three in the start of the second half, and then put either his brother or Federico in for him, and by the time he went back in, like 6 minutes later, Pitt was down by 7. So like I think that is where Pitt lost it a little bit. And I mean, I think our biggest challenge is going to be, we can rebound the ball. We are a really good rebounding team, but all of our bigs are very tall. But they're struggling sometimes, especially in ACC play, with matching that physicality of and that proved to be a challenge against Syracuse. I think Syracuse's Malik Brown had a series of in points inside the point in the paint, where he just beat our biggest down the floor, and they just dumped it down to him. And then we went to the 2-3 zone, and they attacked the middle of the zone, and it was easy for Syracuse. And then we just didn't shoot free throws down the stretch. So I think our biggest thing that we need to work on for UNC when they come on Tuesday, which, welcome to ACC play, right? We're playing Syracuse on Saturday, and we got UNC on Tuesday. Like, we got to shoot free throws well, but we also got to match their physicality. Because I think they still have Armando Bacot, and he is an absolute force inside. So I mean, I'm encouraged because we were up by 8 in the first half, but we got to close it out, Zach. We can't. I mean, we got to play a full 40 minutes. You know what I mean? And we didn't do that against Syracuse.
Is UNC must win to stay in March contention? You think we're there yet?
I what's up? I don't know if we're there yet per se, Zach. I think that that certainly would help. Because they're ranked. They're ranked, and that would be a quad one win for us. I mean, they're ninth in the country, so that certainly won't hurt. And obviously, we're in danger if we lose to UNC of slipping to 0-3 in the conference. We're 9-4 overall, but 0-3 in the conference is not how you want to start ACC play, man. But who I was really encouraged by too. So Bob Carrington has obviously dominated the spotlight, and rightfully so, because he's a really good player. But Jalen Lowe, another freshman, had some really, really big baskets down the stretch for us, and I think he's going to have to be kind of that sixth man, if you will, like definitely the first guard off the bench. Has got to provide some Just good offense in general because he's more of a pass first point guard, but he made some really good shots, and I was encouraged because he made positive plays when he was in. So I think we just got to keep maturing. We're a young team, but I mean that's where Blake Henson's got to step up because he's a leader, right?
Yeah, Danny, I think the Panthers can still get into March Madness. I mean they're 64th team to get in.
Yeah,
I think that they can still
exactly.
get in. It's just we
Yeah.
gotta get some wins here against teams that matter, like
No,
tonight,
yeah,
like on Tuesday. Like if we win
for
against
sure,
Louisville, that
for
that
sure.
win won't really matter as much because they're not
Yeah,
as good of a team. But I think that Pitt can still squeak their way in, even if they do. As long as they win against the teams they should win against,
should right.
maybe win
No,
against some teams that they're not supposed
yeah, and you obviously want to peak at the right time too, right? We're just getting started. Obviously everybody makes the ACC tournament. Everybody has a chance to go on a run, but you want to put yourself in the best position for seeding and stuff. So, I mean, the good thing is, I mean, we have a chance against everybody in the ACC, really. I mean, because it's not like the Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, where when we were winless in the ACC, a few years ago. So it's a different team, different conference. More, it'll be definitely be competitive, but we just gotta win close games, man. We're not playing South Carolina State anymore. That's just not who we're playing anymore. So I think we'll get there, though. I think we'll get there.
against. All right, and finally, Danny, your thoughts on the Penguins 4-2 win last night at home over St. Louis.
Zach, dude, isn't it a just tremendous week of sports? I mean, hasn't this been great? Like the
It has.
Penguins, dude. I um I told you right before the show. This was the first Penguin game for me in a while that I was able to catch really from start to finish, and I really e- e- enjoyed watching the game. Um, I think uh, I think um, that's awesome. I think um, that the Penguins again gotta gotta peak at the right time, right? But dude, I've loved to see the young guys. Both Terry Pustin and Jansen Harkins got his first point. Like I think these are all great strides for the Penguins. In the 7-0 win, we talked about that a little bit, but I didn't mention that Crosby didn't have any points in the 7-0 win. Which I mean,
Yeah,
I
no, he
know
did not.
Letang had 5 points in the period, which was incredible, but Crosby didn't even register a point. Which Sid's probably not happy about that and wants to get on the score sheet. But like that's encouraging because everybody else is producing, even when our star who can have no points once in a while is just kind of facilitating. So that was encouraging to see. But Zach, I mean, I was just encouraged by again the distribution of scores last night. I mean, Drew O'Connor, Ricardo Cal, and Jeff Carter. Jeff Carter. I
Put Jeff
I
Carter in front of the
almost
net
like
every time, and good things will happen.
yeah. Yes, exactly. And if he wasn't just super duper slow when he's not in front of the net, I mean he'd be a tremendous player. He's obviously kind of he's on the older side, so um but I was super happy to see Jeff Carter get in on the action. And Zach, how about Tristan Jarry? Tristan Jarry's been unbelievable.
Yeah, he has. He really has. Yeah.
And I mean what you need a goaltender to do is just be big in the net and make. I mean, that first period, Zach, he made two really good saves.
Mm-hmm.
And that game does not. They made the point on the telecast, and I agree. That game does not finish 4-2. If the Pens if the Pens don't have Jari in that, and Zach also I believe 17 of our 19 wins that we had this year have been the times that we score first. So that is
Mm,
paramount. And Tristan Jarry was absolutely shut down in the first period, man. And I mean, uh, the only honestly the only bad part honestly was they scored on two power plays. That was the only negative that I could kind of obviously point to. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I think it was just a really solid all around 200-foot effort, 200-foot,
Yeah.
60-minute effort, and that's the past two games. It's been like that, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
something that the Penguins need to do, especially this time of year going into January.
For
That
sure.
excuse me, that this is the time when we really need to have depth scoring. We need to
Yes.
have the thing last year that we harped on was secondary scoring, and
Yeah.
how it was only the top six that
Yeah.
were scoring, but now we're getting contributions from all lines. Jansen
Yes,
Harkins, as you
sir.
mentioned, getting his first point. It's just I'm really happy to see that the Pens seem to be turning a corner now
For
as
sure.
we head into January and head as we closer to the All Star break.
For sure.
Danny, any final thoughts on anything discussed on this New Year's Eve edition of Local Lowdown Podcast?
No, Zach, dude. I mean, it's a it's been a really fun year to do this, man. And obviously, Pitt Pittsburgh sports are really in full swing here. So it's just
Yeah,
always look forward to coming on here, man. And always appreciate you for having me.
we want to of course, thank all of you, every single one of you that have listened and chatted with us. Ken, that's to you, man. Thank you very much for your very very good questions and contributing to every episode that you can tune in. And you've stuck with us pretty much all the way through here, so we can't thank you enough for your loyalty to us. And we wish you happy holidays, happy belated holidays, and a very happy New Year to you and to the rest of you out there. For Danny Shanholzer, I am Zach Bischoff. We will talk to you next year right here on the Local Lowdown Podcast. Have a happy New Year, everyone.